creeping sensation like someone's watching you? Like your skin prickles and every hair on your body stands up, but when you turn around, there's nothing there. Just empty space. That's how it started for me. But before you learn my dark secret, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell, and hit that like button, and get ready to listen to the nightmare. My name is Claire. I'm not usually one to scare easily. I hike alone, camp under the stars, stay in remote places. But what happened last summer still haunts me. It wasn't some supernatural thing, no ghosts or monsters. This was real. Too real. And maybe that's why it scared me so much. I've been planning this trip for months, a solo hiking adventure through the Pacific Northwest. I wanted solitude, fresh air, something far away from the chaos of city life. When I stumbled across the listing for this little cabin deep in the woods, it seemed perfect. Secluded, affordable, rustic charm. What could go wrong? But looking back now, I think about how naive I was. How blind we can be when we're desperate for peace. The drive out there should have tipped me off. The road got narrower and rougher the farther I went. My phone lost signal after the first 10 miles, and the GPS kept rerouting me onto dead-end paths. By the time I pulled into the driveway, it was almost dusk, and the sun was bleeding orange light through the trees. The cabin looked exactly like the pictures, quaint, charming, even welcoming. But there was something off. Maybe it was the way the trees loomed too close, their branches clawing at the roof. Or maybe it was the silence. No birds chirping, no rustling leaves. Just quiet. At first, everything felt fine. The owner had left a note on the kitchen counter and some firewood stacked neatly by the hearth. "Enjoy your stay," it read. "Feel free to explore the trails behind the house." So I did. The next morning, I woke early and headed out for a hike. The woods were beautiful, towering pines, moss-covered rocks, streams gurgling in the distance. For hours, I didn't see another soul. Not a single person. Which honestly was kind of the point. But then, I started noticing things. Little things. Footprints in the mud where none should have been. Broken twigs scattered across the trail, like someone had been walking ahead of me. Once, I thought I heard footsteps behind me, crunching softly on the leaves. I stopped, held my breath, listened. Nothing. Just the wind whispering through the trees. I told myself it was probably just animals. Deer, maybe. Or my imagination playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew better. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Every creak of the floorboards made me jump. Every shadow outside the window looked like it was moving just a little too deliberately. And then came the knock. 3 sharp raps on the front door. I froze. Who could possibly be out here? There weren't any other houses for miles. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to sound calm. No answer. I crept to the door, peered through the peephole. Nothing but darkness. "It's probably just the wind," I muttered to myself, though I didn't believe it for a second. Still, I locked the door again and double-checked the windows. Everything was secure. Or so I thought. Hours later, I woke up to the sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate steps coming from somewhere inside the house. My heart pounded in my chest as I grabbed the flashlight from the nightstand. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing nothing but empty corners and closed doors. But the steps kept coming. Closer. Louder. They stopped right outside my bedroom door. I held my breath, clutching the flashlight like a weapon. The doorknob rattled softly, and I swear my blood ran cold. Then, silence. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. After what felt like an eternity, I mustered the courage to open the door. The hallway was empty. No sign of anyone. When I looked down, I saw them, fresh footprints in the dust, leading toward the living room. The next morning, I called the host. Did anyone else have access to the cabin while I was here? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. No, of course not, he replied. Why? Is something wrong? I hesitated. Part of me wanted to tell him everything, the footprints, the knocking, the footsteps in the middle of the night. But I didn't want to sound crazy. It's probably nothing, I said finally. Just weird noises. Old house settling, I guess. He chuckled nervously. Yeah, these cabins can be spooky sometimes. Let me know if anything else happens. If only I told him the truth. Later that day, I decided to investigate. If someone or something was out there, I needed to know. I followed the trails behind the cabin, retracing my steps from the previous day. At first, everything seemed normal. But soon, I started noticing strange markings carved into the trees. Symbols I didn't recognize. They weren't random scratches, they were deliberate, precise. The deeper I went, the more uneasy I felt. The air grew colder, heavier. The trees pressed closer together, blocking out the sunlight. And then I saw it, a clearing with a makeshift shelter built from branches and tarps. Inside, I found evidence of someone living there. An old sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, a pile of clothes. But what really chilled me were the photographs pinned to the walls. Dozens of them. All of me. Hiking on the trails. Sitting by the fire. Even standing in the doorway of the cabin. Someone had been watching me. Following me. Documenting my every move. Panic surged through me, and I bolted back toward the cabin. I just wanted to leave. To get as far away from that place as possible. But as I packed my things, I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching from outside. This time, they weren't hesitant or subtle. They were confident, purposeful. I froze, staring at the door. The handle jiggled once, twice, before stopping altogether. And then, silence. I grabbed my phone, ready to call for help, but the screen remained stubbornly blank. No service. Desperation took over. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer and positioned myself near the window, scanning the tree line for any sign of movement. But whoever, or whatever it was, they stayed hidden. Watching. Waiting. I don't remember much about leaving. Just the adrenaline coursing through my veins as I threw my bag into the car and sped down the godforsaken road. When I finally reached civilization, I called the police. Told them everything. About the footprints, the photos, the footsteps. They promised to check it out. Said they'd send someone to investigate. But when I called back days later, they claimed they found nothing. No signs of forced entry. No evidence of anyone living in the woods. They must have cleared out before we got there, the officer said. Cleared out. Like it was that simple. Weeks have passed since then, but I can't stop thinking about it. About those photos. Those symbols. That cabin. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear footsteps outside my door. Or see a shadow move past my window. And the worst part, I'll never know who or what was stalking me out there. Because whoever it was, they're still out there. Somewhere.